What is happening in there? J Gamer Dude here, and the news has already gone around, and a lot of YouTubers have talked about it. But the fact that Overwatch 2's PVE Hero mode is being completely scrapped, and everyone is talking about the interview that was done by GameSpot, Tamor Hussein, who sat down with game director Aaron Keller and executive producer Jared Naus, but whatever, however you pronounce it. And rather than talking about all of that, I'm going to instead talk about how I have no reason to play Overwatch 2 anymore, because I personally did not play Overwatch 1. I don't like this sort of, multiplayer PvP shooter. And when I do play shooters, I prefer to, have a campaign, have some sort of single player content that can drive me through about a good 8 to 10 hours at least. And even if the content isn't good, like say with Call of Duty, at least there are some very quality pieces of shooters out there, like Doom Eternal. So you've got Doom 2016, you've got Doom Eternal, you've got Proteus, you've got lots of Doom clones, and then you've got the OG Dooms. And then if I were to even move away from Doom and talk about other shooters, I can go back and play Fear 3, Fear 2, Fear. So First Encounter, Assault, Recon. Those were fun games. And I want to keep it within first person shooters. I was actually going to say Shadows of the Damned, but then I realized, it's more third person. But you get the idea. Vanquish is another great example. That was a super fun game. So yeah, if I play shooters, I generally want them to have some sort of single player campaign, and if they don't, then they must have some decent amount of replayability that's actually fun and not centered around online only multiplayer. And yeah, the hero mode would have likely have been more about people playing with each other. What with it being, the whole idea of PvE, as in 4 of you versus a lot of other, robot controlled enemies. Having some sort of narrative structure, they would have been pretty nice. So that's why when I say games that at least are endlessly replayable, I'm thinking about Ziggurat and Ziggurat 2, which are two great arena-based FPSs, where you play as a wizard and the maps are randomly generated when you go from room to room, trying to find where the exit is, where the boss is, and just randomly getting either good or bad power-ups, abilities, or whatever have you. Now, this was the only reason. So I've never played Overwatch 1. I did have it, but I never, booted it up at all. So I wasn't able to, so I didn't play around with it because I wasn't tempted to. Don't really like sort of online PvP type, online only PvP type shooters, because I know I suck at shooters, but even so, it doesn't hurt to try. I mean, Resistance was great. I love Resistance, man. Resistance 2 online was great. Resistance 3 was also really fun. Anyway, besides the point. So yeah, my reason for playing Overwatch was going to be the PvE Hero mode. Now with that being scrapped, I literally have no reason to have Overwatch 2 on my hard drive whatsoever. Even if it is free to play and it has some fun elements to it, I just can't bring myself to play a game where I know if I let everyone down, it's just gonna be, it's more pushing me away from even wanting to bother trying, let alone actually stepping in. And I'm sure there are lots of good communities within Overwatch, but I feel like that's just not going to be your general consensus, especially when, say for someone like myself, who I know a lot of people who play Overwatch, but I wouldn't want to, step in their games and ruin their fun. So that's just kind of me. And I would have rather just, played some sort of PvE mode by myself, which that sounds sad and kind of like something that you probably wouldn't want to do. But, that's just kind of how I do things. And that's why I generally play more single player games, RPGs, JRPGs, and what have you. And when it comes to shooters, it's always very sort of single player focused stuff. Like Quake, Doom, and like I said, Ziggurat and Resistance even. Yeah, Resistance does have co-op, but it's I could play local co-op with family, friends, and stuff like that on the same couch, which is what I would much rather prefer. But again, that's just me as someone who's been playing games for years and didn't grow up on multiplayer only shooters and things like that. So with all that said and done, I figured I'd just kind of share my 2 cents as someone who isn't a PvP player. And hell, with like MMOs, like I don't like playing with other people, but I loved Final Fantasy 14. That was a great way to handle an MMO. So yeah, like that's another example of a game that does something really well, despite the fact that it's not a genre that I would have touched or played. But that's again besides the point. Yeah, so I figured I would just kind of share my thoughts as someone who doesn't really play PvP shooters. Wanting to sort of put my hat in the ring and actually play a little bit of Overwatch, but the only reason that I had to play Overwatch is now no longer going to happen, so I kind of I'm just gonna walk away and leave it. And plus, like, I did completely forget about the PvE mode until it was announced that it was cancelled. If it was announced to say, okay, now it's releasing, I would have been like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try now. But yeah, I guess this is my reason for not playing Overwatch anymore, and I don't know if other people agree, but yeah, that's just my 2 cents, and it doesn't really matter bugger all because I'm just one person who feels this way, and I don't know if other people do the same as well. Unreal Tournament was also really, really fun. I really liked Unreal Tournament. I would just jack up the AI difficulty to max and then run around with a rocket launcher. That was a great time. In saying that, I'll see you guys next time.